Hello, dear viewers, and a very warm welcome back to our channel. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on a quiet move from King Charles that says more about the future of the crown than a dozen balcony appearances. In the next few minutes, you'll see how one coin, one signature, and one steel-spined sentence turned Princess Anne from the monarchy's hardest worker into its most indispensable anchor. What really happened, why it matters, and how it reshapes the palace playbook. Let's dive in. First, a promise, so we're on the same page. This story isn't about tiaras and trumpets. It's about trust, about a late-in-life king juggling duty and treatment, a family navigating headwinds, and a sister whose pace never flickers. We'll follow three threads: the commemorative coin, the counselor of state power, and Anne's "each day is a bonus" mantra, and then weave them together into one unmistakable picture of who's really keeping the light steady at the palace. Picture the scene in your mind: early morning light on Buckingham Palace stationery, a fountain pen, a decision that doesn't shout, it whispers. With a stroke of ink, Charles quietly broadens the circle of those who can act in his name when duty or circumstance pulls him away. And, crucially, Anne is right there in the inner ring. No fireworks, no fanfare. Just a sovereign choosing the one person who never misses a brief, never misses a step, and never, ever makes herself the story. Remember that signature. We'll come back to it. Now jump with me to the public stage. A portrait first, then a gleam of metal in the king's hand. A special coin for the Princess Royal's 75th. It's elegant, restrained, and it carries a simple inscription that lands like a gavel: duty and devotion. Read it once, then read it again. That isn't birthday fluff. That's the palace engraving Anne's brand into history. For years, royal watchers said it. Now the mint has minted it. To understand why all of this matters, zoom out a touch. The last stretch has tested the House of Windsor. A slimmed-down team carrying more load, a monarch pacing himself wisely, weather across the family forecast that wouldn't sit still. And through it all, one constant rhythm. Anne shows up. Not with headlines, but with a timetable. Not with drama, but with stamina. That's why the courtiers' favorite description of her, least problematic, sounds almost too modest. What they really mean is, she's solid. And when the path got truly rough, we all remember. A sudden accident at Gatcombe, hooves, a fall, hospital lights, and for a moment, a crowd holding its breath. Anne came back with a line that belongs in stone. Each day is a bonus. No violins, no press tour, just a reset, and then straight back to work. You could frame that sentence above the palace door. It's become the temperature of this reign, measured, grateful, relentless in the right ways. Let's layer in the hard numbers behind the sentiment. 5 decades with Save the Children, tens of thousands of supporters met, funds raised into the many millions. Hands-on visits from Bangladesh to Bosnia, from UK community hubs to emergency appeals. Over 300 charities and organizations on her slate, from heavy-hitting science and engineering bodies to the Writing for the Disabled Association, where seasoned insiders will tell you she doesn't just wave, she questions, presses, stays late. Watch a room when Anne walks in. Shoulders drop, notebooks open. People know they're about to be asked something specific. And then there's the way she marks milestones. No fuss for birthdays ending in 5. A touch more ceremony for the zeros. The 75th? Classic Anne. Bring the charities into Buckingham Palace, convene a forum, put the spotlight right back on the work. That's why the coin glitters the way it does, not as a shiny trinket, but as a rare public mirror for a lifetime of private graft. Now back to the paperwork, because this is where the crown and the country intersect. Counselors of state are more than a title. They're a constitutional safety net. They can sign documents, receive ambassadors, chair Privy Council meetings if the monarch is abroad or temporarily indisposed. Traditionally, the list writes itself from the line of succession, but tradition had to bend to reality. A leaner royal bench, a king with a finite calendar, and a world that doesn't pause for anyone. So the list was broadened with precision. People with stamina, unimpeachable discretion, and a proven obsession with briefs. Anne didn't earn that place for being beloved, though she is. She earned it for being flawlessly dependable. If you want the palace mood in 3 snapshots, here they are. Snapshot 1, a quiet study, polished desk, the sovereign's signature making the constitutional machine hum even when he steps out of the room. Snapshot 2, a gleaming coin, a national mint telling the public, this is what service looks like when you remove the spotlight. Snapshot 3, a country lane, a fall, then a return to duty with 7 words that recalibrate a life. Stitch those snapshots together and you don't just get a tribute to Anne, you get the blueprint for how this reign is going to last. Let's talk style, because styles save institutions. Anne's is famously flint dry, brisk greetings, sharper questions, and a wicked wit that can slice through waffle faster than any press office. She reads, she prepares, she challenges gently but firmly, and if your pitch is fuzzy, she'll find the edge and push you to it. That's not austerity, that's respect. It's also the reason serious people in serious sectors, science, engineering, health, light up when her name is on the attendee list. She will get it, and if she doesn't, she will ask until she does. And notice the timing. With a smaller working roster, every shoulder matters more. That's why the king's twin gestures, the coin and the counselor roll, ring so loudly even though they were executed so quietly. They validate 2 truths at once, that the monarchy still honors duty in public, and that it now relies on it in private. Optics and operations fused. There's another thread we can't ignore, consistency. For years, Anne has topped or hovered at the top of the engagement tallies. Early trains, late finishes, back-to-back site visits where the photographers are long gone, but the questions keep coming. The public doesn't always see that part, but charity leaders do. You can measure it in outcomes, projects accelerated, partnerships brokered, fundraising trajectories bent upward by a royal who sends follow-ups instead of flowers. Add to that her philosophy of attention. In an age that rewards volume, Anne rewards substance. She can take a national moment, say, a birthday many would turn into a peacock's tail, and make it a working day with a purpose. The palace put out the portrait. She put out a schedule. The contrast is the point. So, where does this leave the king and the crown? In a stronger place than the headlines sometimes admit. The monarchy's modern challenge is to look lean without feeling hollow. That means fewer figureheads and more weight carried by the ones who remain. Charles knows it. Anne proves it. When the team narrows, the trusted become priceless. If you're sensing a pattern in this reign, it's by design. Quiet adjustments, visible symbols, relentless work under the waterline. A constitutional mechanism tuned for reliability. A ceremonial tribute that doubles as a signal. A family ethos framed by a single sentence from the princess who has earned the right to say it. Each day is a bonus, so spend it well. And that, in the end, is the hook inside the headline. The silent masterstroke isn't just a clever title, it's a governing style. The king doesn't need to tell you whom he trusts, he can show you. He did it with ink, he did it in silver, he did it by letting his sister's example set the beat the rest of the family follows. Now it's your turn. Does this understated loyalty say more about the crown's future than any balcony moment ever could? Which image defines Princess Anne for you? The coin, the counselor role, or that unflinching bonus philosophy after her fall? Drop your thoughts below. Your comments shape what we dig into next. If this kind of calm power speaks to you, tap like so the algorithm doesn't bury our next chapter, and subscribe so you don't miss it when another small detail, somewhere between a desk, a diary, and a doorway, quietly shifts the story again.